All right, we had a little bit of a hiccup, but I believe we are back, and Crim has joined us. Hello,
I
sir. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent, thank you.
All right. Now we discussed regional championships, went through the California regionals, discussed the metagame and all that good stuff, and the tournament structure. But now we're moving on to the X and Y rule changes. We started discussing the first one, but it got kind of cut off. So we'll just go right back to it. No attacking on the first turn is our first rule change. These will go into effect on November 8th with I think that's when Japan gets X and Y. I'm not too sure. But November 8th, that's the date regardless. What do you guys think about no attacking first turn? And Drew, I think you already answered, but we'll start with you.
Oh, I did not already answer.
Oh,
I got
That
rudely cut
was
off by
that
Crim.
was me. I
sorry.
answered.
My
I think
mistake.
this was the simplest and easiest solution to the problem of the first turn losses. So, good move by Pokemon. I like it. Not sure what else they could have done there. We'll see. Yeah, I agree. I like it. Next.
Ben, well, you were the one answering before. What do you think?
Oh, I already finished. I said, but I'll rehash it a bit. I think it's excellent. I think it's perfect. I thought about which do I want to go first or second, and it depends on what deck I'm playing, which is kind of like perfect. And I think it's the right move all around.
All right. And Crim?
I also, I guess maybe the screen went down while I was talking, but um, big plus. That's the one rule that I can really get behind. The rule change that I can really get behind. I went on this little rant while the cameras were off or whatever about how I feel like this season could have been so much better had they done a couple of things differently, namely the 50-minute best 2 out of 3. But the XY rule change here, I think that's exactly what Pokemon needs to really get back on track. Um, Ideally, in my opinion, they would go back to single game matches because there's no longer a need for 2 out of 3 once you get rid of losing on the first turn. Um, but we'll see where they go from here. But I think that this is a great first step to kind of fixing the game, if that makes any sense. Ugh, I hate saying that too.
And Pram.
I'm okay with using the term fixing the game because the game was a little broken, to be honest. I think the rule change is very good. Like Ben said, it kind of depends on what deck you're playing if you want to go first or second. And I'm sure there will be mechanics introduced later that'll, depend on whether you want to go first or second. You also get to choose, I believe, if you want to go first or second. So that's big too. So if you're not condemned to your turn choice, like you, if you win the roll. So that's good.
Do you get to choose before you see your hand or after you see your hand?
This is a big change, actually. Before you set up at all, the first thing you do is determine who goes first.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
You
important.
do the opening flip, and then whoever wins gets to decide if they want to go first or second, and then you draw your opening hand.
Yeah, because if, like, say on a plasma deck, if it wasn't like that, I could look at my hand, go, ugh, I'll go first, because you're not attacking. So, very good change. I think it was always weird that you got to look at your hand first, but then again, it didn't really matter because you always wanted to go first anyways. But
You actually couldn't choose before either.
yeah. So now, all around great rule change, and the reason why it's happening on November 8th, Kyle, is because we're getting like these little blister packs or decks or something that has the Kalos starters, and there's a promo Fairy Sylveon. So because we're getting a Fairy type in the new starters, we get the new rules.
Yep, forgot about that.
Cool.
I do like this change. I think one of the worst parts of Pokemon was when, you're trying to introduce a new player to the game, and then they play, and they don't even get to draw a card, and you're like, I already lost? What kind of game is this? I didn't even get to play a turn. And
That took
I
longer
just,
setting up.
Yeah, right. Kyle's fist pumping. I gotcha.
Next.
I could never justify that to someone. Like, that is just such a bad point in the game. So I'm really glad that first turn attacks go away. But a lot of complaints have come about from players saying that now with this rule change that Tropical Beach is too powerful, considering it is a World Championship promo. and that the card will be way too expensive for the average player. What are you guys' thoughts on that? That Tropical Beach will be too expensive now. Anyone wants to take it?
I'll take it. So I'm gonna go ahead and preview something else to go with this. Mega Evolutions. All right. So the way we haven't actually found out about any Mega Evolutions or anything, but the way I believe, like the way they described it,
There's
and
two.
the way I think it works out, is that you can't attack that turn. Your turn just ends as soon as you Mega Evolve, right?
You're right.
Yep.
But that's like the perfect time to do it is turn 1 because you can't attack anyways. So
I mean, we don't know if you can.
I know.
Yeah.
But if you can't, I mean, like, if your turn ends and you have to wait a turn too, why would anyone play Mega Evolutions, right?
We'll have to see what they're like.
They would have to be so broken that the amount of time you spend getting it out is just like justified. But if they're just like a normal power up card, right, then going like turn 1 Mega Evolve go is like really good. And they're probably going to be based off the EXs. Like, I think only the EXs can Mega Evolve anyways.
Yeah, from what we've seen, it's just going to be Blastoise and Venusaur.
Yeah.
Those EXs are the ones that are going to get Mega Evolutions.
And
Yeah.
right now, those cards are terrible.
Yeah, so like that's a good way of balancing these too, because like you can make the basic version of the EX terrible, but when a Mega evolves, it turns into something playable.
Just 500 damage and it's 2,000 HP.
It starts glowing yellow. He starts glowing yellow like Goku or something.
When you Mega Evolve this Pokemon, rip your opponent's cards in half.
So I think, back to my point though, I think it's only going to be like this for a little bit, right? Tropical Beach will be very good for like a set or two, but then it'll get balanced out if Mega Evolutions work the way I think it works. It will get balanced off by Mega Evolution. So you're just like, well, do I want a Mega Evolve or Beach? Well, my deck's aggressive, so I want a Mega Evolve. And going first might become the default if Mega Evolution works like that.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes. All right. First of all, you said
All right.
You said Tropical Beach is gonna get expensive.
More
It's gonna
expensive.
get expensive? Are you kidding me? The card's $200, man.
Expensive is for people who don't have Tropical Beach
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. Hence here. All right. So here we go. The card is currently amazing. Between the rule changes and whenever we actually start getting Mega Evolutions, the card's gonna get even better. That's just the gist of it. I mean, if you can't attack turn 1, the best thing you can do is obviously Beach. That's just common sense. So the card will absolutely get more expensive for a little while until at least Mega Evolutions, and then from then on, we don't even know. We have no idea what Mega Evolutions are gonna do. And I don't like the direction that Tropical Beach is heading. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I see it reach $300, and that's just ridiculous, man. Like, because you don't use one Tropical Beach, you use several. Especially if you want to have it in your opening hand. Yeah, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
you have the potential of playing up to 4 in several decks, and that's just $1,200 right there. Give me a break. No way, no way. 0% chance you see me do that. About the Mega Evolutions though, what Pram said. Jeez, man. I hope that they don't break the game. Like the fact that Pram specifically said, I hope that these cards are good enough that they make up for for having an EX up there with 180 HP that doesn't attack for a turn. Are you kidding me? Who cares about that drawback? Like it's got so much HP that you're not even going to care about it. So I really hope that these cards don't break the game again. Because we're finally taking steps in the right direction. Not attacking on turn 1, awesome. Now let's not lose on turn 2 to a 300 HP Pokemon or something like that. But whatever. Let's not even start speculating on that, I guess, because we haven't even seen these
We'll
cards.
speculate on it a little
The
later.
turn 1 change also gives a lot of breathing room for setup decks. So, like, Empoleon may not be terrible anymore with the rule change.
Whoa, let's not go that
Hey, I'm just using it as like an example here. I'm not saying it's good. It might not be good, but it might be good.
You could play it. You could play it illegal on Sundays now.
Yeah. I could like not lose right away.
Thanks for playing in our tournament, Jason Kaczynski. Thank you.
Ben,
Mega Evolutions. Yeah, I just realized no, we're not talking about Mega Evolutions. We're talking about Tropical Beach.
Yeah.
Uh,
I guess we were kind of talking about Mega Evolution. So
Yeah.
You're
maybe
welcome,
we'll
Ben. I
go
confused
with
the.
that.
I confused
so
you.
Tropical Beach, I really don't even think it's that good of a card right now. I mean, just because it doesn't work well with a lot of decks. For me, there's only one deck it works with well right now, and that's just Blastoise. Next set, when we have the rule changes, and then I think Gothitelle comes back, um, things change quite a bit, and maybe Tropical Beach is pretty awesome. But we don't know what's going to be in the future, like, for the card. Um, the card is pretty limited edition, and although the card isn't that good, in my opinion, for the cards that we use for decks, I still think it's a little unfair. I just feel like there wasn't enough of them made, and I can understand the average player's plight about not having Tropical Beach or not being able to afford a $200 card to play 3 of in a deck, and it makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
All right, Drew.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Pokemon even out the playing field and re-release Tropical Beach, or let people play Worlds deck Tropical Beaches, let them play the foreign ones, something. Because paying $200 for a card is outrageous. And Ben said it doesn't fit into those decks. I think with the new first turn rule, people are going to find a way to fit it in their deck. Because getting free cards turn 1 is amazing.
I could easily see that with the new rules, yeah.
Yeah, they could maybe play like 1 or something, get with Skylas, I don't know, but
Let's just
I think,
ban it.
Yeah,
That would
yeah,
work
I'm
too.
with that. Well, it'll make everyone much happier in the long run. I mean, like people on like the secondary market will start crying their eyes
I'm tired
out
of playing against
when they have like.
Everyone but the Jason Klaczynskis that are hoarding all the Tropical Beaches. They're like sitting there with like binders worth of Tropical Beaches.
They're just
The
like
card
this.
gets banned and, oh my god.
They're just like this with their tropical
be the
beaches.
worst.
They're like, yeah, make it rain, tropical beaches. But then they're just like, no.
I'm going to send a letter, and I'm going to get them to ban Tropical Beach. Now, anybody watching right now wants to sell me their Tropical Beach for $50, I'll buy it, because it won't be worth anything.
All right, so do you think something should be done about it? And if so, what? Do you think they should reprint it somehow? Allow foreign language? Allow Worlds deck Tropical Beaches? What is the solution to this problem? Or do you think even Ben banning the card?
Mine,
There's a bunch of lists of different things that I feel like should be done as far as the game and everything, and every game has that. There's a bunch of things you need to improve. It never stops, and we can only expect so much from these people. This is kind of in the middle upper part of the list, and I think they should just reprint it in Legendary Treasures or whatever it's called. That would be pretty sick.
Okay. Anyone else?
I could see it being in like a blister pack. No, I'm
League
like,
promo, baby.
I'm serious, or
Yeah.
like a league promo, right?
Like Landorus. I mean, those are everywhere.
Imagine how sick the attendance would be for like leagues if that was like a league promo. They would be like so happy.
Well, actually, they don't really give league promos anymore. They're all PTCGO cards.
Whatever.
Yeah.
LC promos. There you go.
Or LC
Nobody
promos.
Nobody comes to my league. So
Imagine if like
there's literally just hundreds of energies, and I get like 4 or 5 every league session.
imagine if like the first through 4 for like next LC was all Tropical Beach. Like the price of Tropical Beach would plummet, and it would make it accessible for like so many people,
What I
Like
think they
that.
should
while keeping like the little flair of it being an exclusive promo. It's
They
just
should-
not as exclusive.
They should just make it so that only stamped Tropical Beaches can be played, but not staff stamped. Just the ones top 32 and above.
You know what, Ben?
Stop there. Finalist only.
$1,000 card.
Oh man, my beaches aren't worth anything at that point.
Kyle, if they were to make all tropical beaches that are currently legal but in different languages available, how much do you think that they would be worth? Like if all languages were available but only legal cards, so basically not World Collection.
Well, I think for the most part, the other language Tropical Beaches I think like the German, the French, Spanish ones, those are worth the least. Like the Portuguese ones too. For the French ones and the Japanese ones are still worth a good amount. I think Japanese ones are actually worth the same amount of money as ours. But anyway, I think they would kind of like even out. They would all be worth similar amounts because, well, they would all be playable at that point. The English one might still be a little more expensive, but I think it would drop way, way down.
Do
At
you think it would
least,
still be 50 plus? Maybe
Yeah.
60 plus?
at least 50. I would probably say at least 70 still. Um,
It's too
Probably
much.
not enough of a drop. Yeah.
See, I don't even think that's a
Still a
good
big drop,
option,
though.
though.
Gold rare candy should be the most expensive card in the format. It's just how it should be. No
why?
offense.
Because
It's going to be in every format.
Goldware candy
but not
will
too many decks
sustain throughout the years. But that's not the point. I don't even think they should open, like, let other language cards be played. Because if you break that rule for the one tropical beach, then you have to start looking at other cards in the future. And then at that
If
point,
there's ever a chance for that rule to be broken, it's now. I think. Like if they're, if they
I think they're just gonna take the hardline stance and not do the reprint, at least, or not do the like letting languages through. If they're gonna like do something about it, and that's like an if, that's a big if, right? It would be either reprint as some kind of promo or blister pack or something, or ban it. I actually like the banning it, but
We haven't seen a ban card.
Bye bye Blastoise.
Diesel and Slowking.
I don't even think Blastoise takes a huge dip if it loses Tropical Beach. Not that gigantic, because you can play other cards.
I think banning is out of the question for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think reprinting is out of the question for them. They've held the stance very strongly that Worlds promos are exclusive cards, and they would not like to devalue those cards.
Hey,
So I
you
don't
asked
think
us,
those two are even options.
You asked us what we want, not what
I
we
know.
think.
I'm
is
just
gonna
telling you
happen.
guys.
Honestly, I
the
think...
reality.
I believe nothing will happen.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm with Ben here. I honestly think, like, they will just do nothing.
Yeah, that was my next question. Do you think anything will happen?
No.
Nope.
I think they're just like, guys, just wait until Mega Evolutions. You'll be fine. Trust me.
Yeah, we're gonna have a whole cities and regionals format with super expensive tropical beach. It looks like.
Yeah.
It's another thing to look forward to in this beautiful season we have upon us. All right.
Oh man.
I guess we started talking about Mega Evolutions, so let's just continue with that. It's been announced, like we've said, Mega Evolutions, just to coincide with X and Y. It's a mechanic where you Mega Evolve your Pokemon and your turn ends. Looks like this will only be on EX Pokemon. The first two, at least judging from most information we've got, there's only going to be 2 Mega Evolutions in this first set. Most likely Blastoise and Venusaur, but we'll have to see. First of all, I guess, what do you think about the mechanic, and is it a good or a bad thing? Start with Crim.
Have they even announced the actual mechanic for you yet?
Yeah.
Like
You
besides
Mega
the
Evolve
fact-
and your turn ends, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all we know.
I actually don't think it makes sense flavor-wise. By the way, like, isn't that silly? How it's backwards? Like, for example, in Pokemon, the video game, I can Mega Evolve and attack on the very same turn. Like, which is what's crazy about and so cool about Mega Evolutions. Which, I mean, when I first read that that your turn ends, it made me scratch my head, and then I'm still scratching it now. It doesn't make any sense. It's silly. It seems lazy. It seems very lazy. It does. It really does. They could have thought out a better way to make a Mega Evolution.
I think...
where you still attack on Mega Evolve. On the
Karim, I think you're kind of right in terms of flavor-wise, but this is more... I think they probably just went with a balance issue rather than a flavor issue.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get at. Is like they could have found a way to make to balance the card out. I mean, it's not like they were pressed on time or whatever. Like,
Oh yeah, they were kind of pressed on time. I think they were probably pressed on time, and they just went with this. But that's speculation.
Maybe all of the Mega Evolutions will have an ability that happens when you Mega Evolve it to make it be kind of like an attack.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
we don't really know what they're gonna have.
Yeah.
As far as the mechanic goes, I think you can't judge it until you know like what these cards are gonna be.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. But flavor-wise, which is the only thing I can judge it on, I think it's a miss.
I think flavor, if you want to go like super flavor wise, it would have to be like item card into also having the Mega Evolution in your hand into doing it. It's like
I want to know. I want to know if I can de-evolution spray my Mega Evolution.
no, I
Doubt that. Well, I guess. Well, before we move on to what I was going to say, Drew, do you have any thoughts on?
I don't want to speculate on cards that haven't been released yet.
All right.
we're not even speculating on cards. We're speculating on possible mechanics that we're just making up.
I know Crim's gonna be wrong, so I don't want to jump on anything he's saying.
I don't know, man. I've been right lately. Oh, 1 for 1.
1 for 1 counting like within the past one. I am 1 for 1.
Let's not even get started on the things you've said tonight.
Let's just like he's like, wait, I'm right? Yes, that's 1 for 1. Now let's turn off the counter.
All right. So here's my big question. Do you think it was a big mistake to have the EXs Mega Evolve as opposed to actual evolutions Mega Evolving?
Yes.
Because it seems like we're still focusing on these big basic Pokemon, and that's been the complaint of most people. I mean, within the past 2 years.
I do not have an issue with EXs if they continue to read what that Blastoise and that Venusaur say.
But if it turns into something even more powerful and it's
Do you
based
really
off
think
of
that they're gonna
EXs,
continue to
I also think it should take up card slots for like that EX. So like you would have to run like a, or maybe it's like a one of.
what do you mean?
Like you can only have one of any Mega Evolution in your deck, kind of thing.
We might see that. We don't know.
Well-
Sorta.
That doesn't make sense
Yeah.
because you can have more than one Mega Evolution guy in your
No,
team.
but you can't Mega
You
Evolve
can't Mega
one.
battle.
Can't, right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm
So
no,
I
You can't have more
but
than
you
any
can.
one Pokemon in battle too. That doesn't make sense.
No,
No,
I-
in the
I mean-
active position.
Or maybe
Yeah.
maybe you can only Mega Evolve once per game.
Yeah. That.
Maybe that's another mechanic. Because
Oh, it's
that would go
speculation.
with flavor wise. I honestly, this
Hey,
is all.
man. This is what
Somebody
everyone wants to
Mega
talk
Evolves.
about.
Your turn ends. Somebody use Golrick de-evolution bunch. Good game.
I mean, like that would balance out like it being powerful, right? If Mega Evolution cards are like super powerful, but then like for example, you could only do it once per game, then that would be fine. And especially if the EXs are reading what that Blastoise and that Venusaur say.
I wouldn't
You
hold
know
my
what?
breath, man.
I have no problem with those cards being EXs.
Yeah, do you remember the first EXs for this new format?
What do you mean?
Like the first EXs we had in Black and White or whatever?
Mewtwo?
You too?
Yeah, I was like,
Whoa, bad
Besides,
example.
It was like the Reshiram EX and the
That
Zekrom.
was the only
Reshiram
one
was-
that counted, man. Mewtwo.
Reshiram was played in some decks.
Yeah,
Zekrom, they were all
exactly.
played at first.
And
Yeah.
people were like, eh.
Shaman.
And then eventually, well, what I'm trying to say is like, you know, they started
Regigigas.
small, they started slow, and then all of a sudden you have freaking Darkrai EX and
No, I'm saying maybe they
released like one broken one per set, and then
Yeah.
here we are, one broken one per set.
the broken ones are so good. How about that? Yeah.
yeah, my point is I wouldn't hold my breath that, you know, all of these new EXs are gonna be bad.
Well,
I highly doubt that. I
we're
hope
just.
so. But
I think they can
Yeah.
put all the power on the Mega Evolution.
The Yveltal, however you say it, I don't know. The dark one, if that's any indication, I don't think they're getting any weaker. The one that has X Ball plus 20,
Oh, yeah.
and it's a dark Pokemon.
yeah, and then its their second attack isn't even bad. It's like
Yeah.
so sick.
It's even called Evil Ball. Like it's just a clear ripoff of X Ball.
Maybe that
Alright.
card's not intended for Dark Patch.
Yeah, right.
Alright. Before we move on to the next thing, I want your predictions. How much HP will the Mega Evolutions max out at? Pram?
In the new set
Max.
or period?
Max out at?
Period.
Ah,
What is their highest HP going to be?
250.
Higher.
Higher than 250? Oh
What-
my.
I first had somebody ask me this question, I thought it would actually just be 0. And then I realized it actually says that they'll have higher HP.
Yep.
So I have to think about it.
Crim, what do you think? Give me a number.
280.
280.
I don't think they're going to want to break the 300 point, but they're going to get like so close it's just going to be ridiculous.
Drew?
They're going 300. They don't care.
You know, I at one point I thought they would never.
301.
At one point I thought they would never break the 120 point. Way back when.
Yeah.
I was like, 130. This is some craziness. And then like EXs came out 150.
The Waylord had 200.
Yeah. It wasn't that good though. I mean,
Ben, give me a number.
250 max.
250.
You had a
I
chance.
would Drew. I
when you
think
look-
300.
When you look at the Pokemon that are Mega Evolutions, like none of them are they're not traditionally high HP Pokemon. So there's no Blissey, on the list.
Don't matter.
I think like the biggest one, the highest HP
Charizard?
one
Aggron
is
or Tyranitar.
Mewtwo,
Oh, yeah.
Mega Kangaskhan, and those are the highest. It's like none of these guys are like
Pokemon doesn't
particularly.
abide by that stuff.
Yeah.
Hey man, I can only speculate.
They don't go by the
base
video
set
game at
at
all.
120 HP.
if it's gonna go over 250, then I think it's gonna be 280 or more.
You know, another.
I don't think
can
there's
give
gonna
you
be ones in between, like unless it's just a low HP EX, like Mega EX.
You know, another balance thing they could do is make Mega Evolutions have double weakness, like have two weakness to 2 types. So there's like a variety of things that could take it down.
Such a good imagination, Pram. I wish you were in the R&D.
I should be. I should be.
But not all the Mega Pokemon are weak to 2 different things. Like Manectric is only weak to ground, so
That
It
one can
would-
only be weak to 1.
it would only be weak to fighting.
Yeah, but
This
then
used to be double or weak
as,
to double
as
types.
as a counterpoint, you can just make a Manectric slightly worse in terms of power.
Were there any EX Pokemon like before that were only one type that was only weak to one thing?
You know what? Manectric, actually.
Oh yeah, it was weak to 2 things.
No, it was weak to only 1.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Aggron EX was weak to fire and
yeah, that's
water?
That's what I was asking. I don't think there was any. I don't think there were 2 that were weak, and that wouldn't even make sense at all. No
Blaziken
offense.
was weak
I'm
to
not
psychic.
saying it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Blaziken
just
was weak
saying-
to psychic and water.
It's weak to that in the game.
Yeah, and it made sense too. And it was like, and it made
That
like the amount of
does
viable.
make sense.
It made a lot of viable decks like Swampert and Gardevoir were like viable because of that.
It doesn't look like they're trending towards what has been done in the past, and it looks like they're trending towards what we've been trending towards, which is. Whoa!
Alright. Alright, I think we can wrap up this topic. But there was, well, we can go over the silly change first. Professor Sycamore does exactly the same thing as Professor Juniper, so you can only play one or the other in your deck.
I have no problem with this.
Are you gonna tell me that they didn't have enough time to make a new professor too? Like,
No. I'm gonna tell you they didn't have enough time to think of a new card effect.
Maybe this one.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Like,
man.
I think like
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They've had like 2 years since Black
I
and
think
White was released?
I would not be surprised if they had a dartboard, right? And they were like, change it, say the same, right? And they were just like, stays the same.
I'm wondering if they like cut back on like R&D department over there in Japan or something, because this this feels very lazy to me. Like if they're bringing back level X's, assuming they're bringing back Professor Juniper. I mean, give me a break.
I'm sure it's
Okay,
like the
are
same
you-
guy too. I'm sure it's just.
That, like, makes us
Hold
feel
on.
fresh.
Are you disappointed that it's directly after, or are you disappointed it's the 3rd time they've had this card?
I'm disappointed that they aren't bringing new cards into the format. Like instead of having the opportunity to expand our supporter line, like they're just giving us the exact same.
Sure. For the immediate, it seems bad. But maybe in the future
Not
it's
so
good.
immediate. This was just reprinted in Plasma
They know it
Blast.
works, man.
Yeah.
They know it works.
No, I know.
So
You know
it's
it's gonna
like
be.
pretty much the entire lifetime of Sycamore. We're gonna have Juniper too.
You know it's gonna be an issue. They're gonna be like, people are gonna be like, do I play full art Juniper or full art Sycamore?
I don't. I don't think the problem is that they didn't like they were lazy and didn't come up with a new card. I think what you think the problem is that they aren't fixing something with how the format you want to see go in a certain direction that you think should be fixed, but they don't think should be fixed.
No, I don't think that has anything to do with Sycamore and Juniper being the exact same card. That seems silly to me. Like, for example, like the base set is always, black and white or whatever, Ruby Sapphire. All these base sets have always been, they've always included that one staple supporter. For as long as I can remember, Steven's Advice, Juniper, whatever. And this time they had the opportunity to give us a new stable supporter, just like they've been doing for X amount of years, and they gave us Juniper again. Like that's just come on.
What if they think this card effect is really good, but they don't want to change the format? They don't want to change the format currently. Like they don't want to change the new format.
Yeah, I mean like
with all of the black and white sets, they want you to use Juniper, and they don't want you to have access to another supporter from just their R&D strategical standpoint.
I don't even think
They
Juniper's
have to
like.
change the name.
I don't even think Juniper's that broken to be like complaining about it that much, like this much.
No. I don't think anybody's complaining about Juniper. Yeah. I don't think anybody's complaining about like, oh my god, why would they bring back Juniper? This is ridiculous.
No. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
I'm saying what they did is completely logical to me. And
Yeah.
it sounds like people are just disappointed they don't get a new card to play with because it's not as fun.
It just
No,
looks
they're
it looks lazy. That's the argument.
Exactly.
You printed an exact reprint of another card with a new name.
Yeah, it's like going like, well,
One that
I really
exists
like this card.
currently.
Let's just stick
Maybe
Professor in
as
there.
far as their plans go, that's the best supporter they want to have in the format. Like maybe that's what they want. Like maybe they think this will bring balance, keeping the same card effect.
You see
Crim-
why people
Crim, I think I know what your issue is. You just wanted to be so much like the black and white Sycamore, so you wanted to be like, here, you get presented 3 basics, choose one.
That would have been cool too.
Right?
But like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to nitpick because even though it sounds like I'm nitpicking because I'm like saying negative things about so many aspects of what we're talking about, but give me a break, dude. It's the same card. I don't know. I'm just gonna drop it, but I really don't like that. I do feel it's lazy, and I wouldn't be surprised if most of the people feel the same way.
All right, it's functionally this has like no effect on the card game at all. Just you can play a different looking Juniper now. So
You
I
could
just wanted
always
to
do
bring it
that.
up. What?
You could always play different looking Junipers.
You can play a different gender Juniper, okay?
There you go. You got to make that separation here.
Yes. But I mean, functionally, this gives no difference to the game. But it's just something I wanted to bring up because it's confusing for new players. I think that's the biggest issue. Like if you just have someone who is like just starting off, you show up to a tournament and you got like 2 Juniper in your deck and 2 Sycamore, and you think everything's okay. Then you show up and they're like, whoa, you can't combine these cards. Like, it's not an intuitive thing. You've always been able to do that kind of stuff. And now all of a sudden they're just like, no. These cards do the same thing. You can't play both. So I think that's the big issue for me. Just bring it up. But I don't think it's very important in the overall scheme of things. The next one is very important, though. This was probably the most controversial change of all. Pokemon Catcher now requires a coin flip. They errated the card. They deemed it far too powerful. And they said now Pokemon Catcher is now Pokemon Reversal.
Pram, you are such a hypocrite. Shut up.
Yeah, I know.
It's like when they came out with Catcher. When they came out with Catcher, Pram was celebrating. He was like,
I know.
Yes, reversal. And then switching it back to reversal, Pram's like, yes, back to
It's all about context.
All right, let's start the discussion. Do you think this is a good or bad change with Pram?
It is a phenomenal change. Out of all the Darth,
I'm 2 for 2 now. Back about a year ago or 2 years ago when they first printed it, I said the card
okay.
was
Whatever.
let it be
How many
known.
mistakes did you make in between?
0.
He's only made 2 decisions since.
Prove it.
We can tell by it based on how long you play the game.
And okay, so let me explain the context. All right. So, thankfully, someone threw that dart and it said change it, and I'm glad that had happened. So,
I hope this is what they actually do.
what if I'm right? What if I'm right? Like you get a tour to the R&D department in Japan, right? And it's like you just see this dartboard.
What's that?
World.
What's that? You're not supposed to see that.
Yeah, and we're all to like pull Pram into the back room. You can't go spreading that.
How did you know? Who told you?
It only comes up when there's a split decision on things, though. If they're tied like 4-4 in votes, they let the dartboard be the decider.
they refuse to hire an odd man. Anyways, okay. So let me explain the context on why I think this is a good change. So back when it was just reversal and no catcher, it was a good change to turn it to that catcher got printed because there was no foreseeable. No one knew whether Warpoint would be reprinted in the form it's in now, and Warpoint was such a skill-intensive card in like certain situations, and it was like really balanced on how it worked, but there was like nothing to provide any switching other than reversal at the time, so it came down to who was the luckier player. So when Catcher came out, it kind of took a little bit luck out of it in terms of coin flips. But if they had just print Escape Rope to begin with, I would have just been like, yeah, whatever, just get rid of Catcher. But now when Escape Rope came out, Catcher was just so overpowering, no one played Escape Rope that much. Some people played it here and there, but you didn't really see it. So now with Catcher going to the reversal card effect, you're going to see Warp Point eventually overtake reversal in terms of playability. And it's going to take a little bit of time because these newer players aren't really used to making these decisions. They just draw cards and play them. But now they're going to have to think a little bit more, which is good.
Now, wait, do you think people will continue to play Catcher for the foreseeable future, even though there's a coin flip?
I believe they will play it at first, trying to cling to the new ways. But you gotta bring it back. You gotta bring back to the old ways, and learn how to play the game.
Now you realize that like Warpoint doesn't get rid of the main evolution threat. Like you can no longer just target their Squirtles or whatever, and beat them that way. So.
By the way, it's Escape Rope now. Just want to...
Yeah. That's what Catcher was doing back in the day, or reversal. It stopped these evolution decks from working potentially because they would just, capture you, and when they got lucky, and when they didn't, they didn't. Like that, the Warpoint or Escape Rope never really played much of a factor in that, or wouldn't have had.
No, you missed the point. The point is to balance it out so stage 2 decks are playable. So the reason you don't see stage 2 decks, even though there's a lot of cool stage 2 combos, right? The reason you don't see them is because they are unplayable because you will never get them out in time. And the reason you won't get it out in time is because your bench is getting sniped by Pokemon Catcher.
Yep.
So by making it a coin flip, the super aggressive, YOLO people out there in the world can still play their card effects, right? But it's going to be much more difficult to disrupt a setup deck, which gives setup decks time to breathe. So I think it's a balance.
That was the entire argument against Catcher in the first place. It's like, well, no, Catcher's too overpowered. Taking the flip out of it just makes the card just dominate the formats.
Well, you ran into an issue when it's just reversal versus reversal. Because then it's whoever's luckier.
Would be better than Catcher against Catcher. But again, I guess we're not going to have that problem anymore. I think the company kind of realized that Catcher's too strong. Catcher does dominate the format. I mean, Catcher is just it doesn't let you play these evolutions that now your opponent sometimes is gonna take out your basic Squirtle or whatever. But when he doesn't, when he lands the tails, your deck's gonna work just fine. So now it puts the aggressive player in kind of like a tough situation because now they have to wonder if they're going to be able to compete against this Blastoise deck when they do land the tails. And I like that. I've always liked that. I didn't like the Pokemon Catcher, when it first came out. It constricts deck building too much, and it makes certain decks completely unplayable just because the card is just so much stronger than their entire deck.
Okay.
So yeah. So I'm personally incredibly happy about Catcher being gone, and like I have been for, I've been hoping for the last couple of years.
Don't get me wrong, Reversal will or Pokemon Catcher will still be a good card. It just won't be so overbearing as it is now.
Okay. Ben, you have any thoughts?
This is a terrible change.
Yeah.
This is so
Preach.
bad. I would have rather them just get rid of the card completely.
Yeah.
Like, this is so bad. It's like,
hear it,
okay,
Ben.
Super Scoop Up is an amazing card when you flip heads. Pokemon Catcher is an even better card when you flip heads. And there's no, to me, there should be like an A-spec Pokemon Catcher now. Like one that just automatically does it, because Super Scoop Up has one that automatically does it.
I think that would be fair.
I'm sure we'll see that in the
I agree.
future.
It's just so ridiculously broken, and if they just banned it, it opens up, everybody is still gonna play this card. People are gonna play 4. You're like crazy if you think everybody's not gonna play 4.
No, people will play 4 because they don't know how to play differently.
Everybody is gonna do it, and I know you think that you're right now affecting people and what decks they're gonna play and how they're gonna play, but that's not the case.
No, I'm actually just I'm telling the truth.
No. People played 4 in when it first when Reversal was huge, like 2 or 3 nationals ago. And the only reason people went down to 3 for any reason is because you had Junk Arm to get you more.
People played 4 only because there was no War Point.
It was so good.
It was literally you were choosing Pokemon Cyclone or Reversal
Circulator, yeah.
or whatever, and those were your choices for switching, and then you still needed to play Switch. So
I think the issue with Reversal was Junk Arm, actually, because when you have Junk Arm, you have more chances at the Reversal. So there's more reason to play it, because odds are you're going to hit more of them when you have more chances at them. So I think that's why Reversal got played so much to begin with. But obviously still a super powerful card.
Now, Kyle, what do you think about the change?
I'm actually pretty neutral on it. On one hand, I can see why for now, I would say I think it's a good change. But in the overall scheme of things, I think it's a neutral change, because I do think Catcher was way too strong. I don't think that card should exist in the first place. But I don't think a coin flip is the right way to change it.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing that, it's basically what we're saying is it's the lesser of two evils, but it's still an evil, if that makes any sense. Reversal over Catcher.
The reason I think it's a positive short term is because Catcher defined the game for 2 years, and I'm tired of it. I think it's stale, and I'm hoping that this will lead to it being played less. That might not be the case, but at least I know it's not an automatic that my bench is under fire at all points in the game. So I think from that perspective, I think it's good to get rid of this mechanic, because it really has just dictated how the game has been played for the past 2 years, pretty much.
You know what Catcher does? It finishes games. Does anybody disagree with that? It finishes games.
The problem is it finishes games from turn 1 on, man. That's the problem.
Yeah, but now you're not going to finish those games. And
It's
now
okay,
we're
it's
gonna
okay.
have even more ties.
It's okay. No.
You thought
Ben,
ties
Ben.
were a problem before?
That's
Now
there-
it's insane.
Ties will not be.
think
Let
that
me explain.
before,
Let me. No. Ben's wrong. Let me explain why. The games will go so long that game 2 will never finish.
Game 1 will not finish, and you will have a tie.
Hey man, I did just fine on my stream when I ran escape ropes over Catcher. It's okay.
It's
You can
fine.
live without it.
People don't like. People are. It's gonna take a while for people to adjust to escape rope.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the card. I would probably play 1 or 2 of it if I didn't have Catchers or Reversals, but I wouldn't be excited about the card. It's not like
It
I
opens
would
up
sit there
deck
going,
building a lot
escape
too.
rope's making my deck, it's gonna make every option better. No, escape rope and War Point back then were always just a card that was fine.
Yeah. It also opens up a lot of deck building because you're no longer required to have like 4 spots in catcher. You can go like, well, I can just run my 2 escape ropes, and I got 2 extra spots somewhere else. Whatever.
Tool scrappers, baby. Now, Kyle, you're somebody I consider to be a deck builder. What do you feel about this change? Does it like make you excited to build these new stage 2 decks or stage 1 decks that you previously just said, oh cool, that might be a good bad deck Monday deck or whatever? Like, does it make you feel like, oh man, I actually have the opportunity to test these decks, maybe they'll win?
Yeah, you got to stop playing it on Mondays. You got to start playing it on other days.
Yeah, I do think it's exciting from a deck building standpoint because I think a lot of decks were centralized around catcher. Like either I have to run 4 of these, so it takes up a lot of spots, or at least like 3. Most decks play 3 probably at the very least. Or you have to say, does my deck lose the catcher? And so that really does constrict the way you build your decks. I'm sure all aggressive decks certainly will still play 4 Pokemon catcher.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a question. That's just aggressive decks just have to. That's kind of the way it should be. You either have your aggressive decks, which just try to like punish your opponent very early on, prevent them from setting up, or you have the slow setup decks, which kind of try to sit back and then build up to this big eventual end game. So, I think we'll see less catcher in those big setup decks. We may still see a lot of people play it like people are just so used to playing 3 and 4 catcher even in like Blastoise that we'll probably still see it for a while. But I do like the option of saying, you know what, I don't have to play this card anymore. It's not the super broken card that it was before, and maybe we can, think of some other ways to play. But I could be wrong.
I think everyone's gonna play 4 no matter what, and here's why. Because escape rope is terrible, Pram. You just shove up a huge 180 HP monster, and you're like, oh, I take a hit. I'll just retreat next turn. I don't care.
If they shove up a huge 180 HP monster endgame, then you just take 2 prizes.
280 HP monster. It's a mega evolve.
Wait, how do you
I got
expect
my
to build
Venusaur in here.
every deck?
Venusaur in here just to wall people.
You know how easy EXs are to knock out now, Crim? I know you don't know because you don't play.
What about mega
But-
EXs?
But
Don't have-
EXs,
Oh, boy.
EXs are very fragile.
Have you ever tried knocking out a black Crim with a crystal wall?
Tool,
I played a tool scrap.
tool Scrapper.
Yeah, but have you ever tried knocking out without Tool Scrapper?
I use my own black here.
You know what I could do? I could
Stop it.
because I don't have all these Pokemon catchers on flips in my deck anymore. I can play Tool Scrappers now.
I mean, the point is that like you now have Pokemon.
No,
that can
no, I'm
really-
just saying, what are you gonna do? Mega EX Pokemon with
Mega
280 HP.
Mega EX Pokemon still have weaknesses.
Gosh, and you think you're
You
just
got all the-
playing the
Yeah,
weakness?
you got all the weaknesses.
You're playing some fire deck to knock out Venusaur?
Alright. How about
Format.
a different way of looking at this? Instead of playing Pokemon Catcher, would you consider playing like a 2/2 Ninetales line instead to get the guaranteed effect?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
I would definitely test it.
I wouldn't be
And
like,
it's-
I'd definitely play the other one though.
I don't even mind Ninetales because like you can see it coming. You see the Vulpix on the bench and you're just like, all right, I got to get ready for this.
yeah, I mean,
people
it's one of those
saw
cards
the
that, like,
Luxray, you know.
yeah.
thing.
Luxray came on the board. I went like,
Except
this is only coming once,
Luxray's a good attacker.
and I'm getting ready for this. They might have
Ninetales
Poke
is
Turn. They might have Poke Turn, but that's okay. I can get by.
Yeah, this is like a worse Luxray. I can handle it.
Yeah,
Handle worse Luxray level X.
It's a much worse Luxray.
it actually might be better if you play
Because
Verbank
it
Laser.
probably won't be attacking.
Well, if you play
Hey, man, I
Verbank
got a whole
Laser,
deck built around Ninetales, and it's got a pretty good record.
I think
Listen,
Ninetales
we're
is.
not talking about whole decks
I'm
built
sure
around
that-
Ninetales.
That around Luxray would have had just as good of a record, buddy.
There were
Did all right.
decks built around Luxray level X.
Yeah.
No, we're saying there aren't for Ninetales.
There might be though.
Not good ones.
No. You are
hey,
underestimating
hey,
like how good Ninetales is when there's no
You're
catcher in the field.
overestimating how good Ninetales is.
I've beaten every archetype with Ninetales. Thank you.
Thank you,
There's-
Kyle.
Listen, there's too many effects that cause poison.
There is someone with some sense in this call, and his name is Kyle.
Ah, boy. If Pram's on my side, I know
Give
I've
him the boot.
gone off the path somewhere.
Congratulations, you're agreeing with Mr. Deck of the Week over there.
What about, obviously the other big player in this is Genesect. When you attach a plasma energy, it gets that gust effect. Do you think this change will cause more people to play that?
Only certain decks will be able to play it.
True.
And I think because of that, and because of the cost of losing your energy attachment, it's a balanced mechanic.
I think your deck is definitely going to have to be centered around Genesect. And what makes attaching that extra energy okay is G booster. You know, like, because then you actually using that energy for something.
Yeah, I think Genesect itself is a very balanced card.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Drew, you have any thoughts on the whole situation?
I agree.
Good enough.
Woo!
Well, we've had some conflictions here. Which one do you agree with?
I agree with Ben.
Yeah!
I know you didn't get a chance to speak. You thought that the catcher change is bad. Why do you think so?
I hate reintroducing luck into the format. I'm a traditionally horrible coin flipper, so anything I can use to my advantage, give me the catchers.
But see,
If
Drew.
anyone has any reason to not like Pokemon Reversal, I
Listen,
think it would be me.
Drew, you don't have to play these cards. You can let
It's too
no,
good.
no, no. You can let the other people out there in the world who are just like, all right, man, I gotta get this heads here, or else I lose.
listen,
will probably
I
end
want
up screwing you.
Pokemon to be more like chess. If they had sanctioned Pokemon tournaments, but it was just chess with Pokemon figurines, I would go to that. That's fun.
Who would be the king?
The king? Who do you think? Charizard.
Who would be the king on the other side?
Slow King, man. It's got King in his name.
Oh.
Probably
Nido
just-
King.
It would be Nido
Okay.
King and Nido Queen. You
Yeah.
guys are jokes.
No. That's only for one side, though. The other side is the Slow King side.
What? No, you
Sl-
could reintroduce
Who's the
them.
queen?
Every
Vespa
like,
Queen.
Vespa Queen. Vespa Queen. There we go. Got it.
no,
Nido
ev-
King is the king and Nido Queen is the queen. Why? It's
No.
more obvious.
every new game you have a pair of
Kyle,
legendaries
you have to have two different sides here.
with new figures for every new
One will
game.
be shiny and one will be normal.
No!
Beltran.
The shiny wins. What the heck?
You have to make this.
Doesn't make any sense.
Listen, Kyle, you have to make this as
Shiny-
confusing as
shiny-
possible for anyone watching. Because you have to have, like, two figurines that do the same effect, but they're different pictures or different figurines, and then it gets complicated.
All right.
Pokemon. Chess
Right.
game.
I think we're gonna move on to viewer questions after this. Are we gonna take a break?
Up to you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we're
All
going
right.
to take a break. Please ask us questions on our Facebook page, facebook.com/TopCutPokemon. The next segment of the show will be dedicated to your viewer questions. So we're going to take a short little break, and then we'll be back to answer your questions.
Better put a good song on Pram. Pressure's on.